Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So we're through decoding Manwich, and but we discovered that these conversions and calculations could go on infinitely, and you can convert to the alphabetic order, and then back to letters, and then back to numbers. You could use various charts, and you could start with the numerology chart and hit numerology letters and then convert that to alphabetic order. So, and keep going. And it's infinite. So we had to pick a finite place to stop. And we picked here and here. Whoop. So, and the fingerprint, of course, of these calculations would be right here. MN or STC in the case of Joan Jett and the Black Hearts, I Love Rock and Roll. But we're on MN. And eventually you could mash these letters and numbers together infinitely and put them in multiple various orders. You could also write equations. We haven't got there yet. And I don't know if we will get there. But so I took the letters and numbers, put them together to these points that I showed here, to this point, and to this point, and we mashed them together and paired them off. And we ended up with MN13AC14MA45 DN41 MN32 DM25 VE14 NW23. Now we got this to run through the stock market, and we got it to go forward through finance. And now we're coming back in finance. So you start with 32W. And 32W ends up being on the Frankfurt, and it ends up being Kodiak Biosciences Incorporated on the Frankfurt. Now, these don't always come up. This came up on the stock market. And now it's come up in finance. It doesn't always do that. And when it does, it kind of catches my attention. And remember, in that article that we showed a while back, the stock market and finances and medical science were three of the domains that they said that quantum computers calculate. So I find that to be interesting. And they said there's more that they didn't list. So it's interesting how those are some of our categories. Also, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, I guess. So, but anyway, and we have artificial intelligence as a category as well. So, but anyway, if we move on from that, you have N4, and how about N4 into financial management? All right, if we move on from that, you have 41E, and 41E ends up being on the Finance Act of 2008. This section is subject to Section 41E, which is foreign securities income, just and reasonable apportionment. So, 40 was Section 41E of the 2008 Financial Act. All right, now if we move on from that, you have V52, and V52 is right here, and it deals with Islamic mutual funds. All right. And if we move on from that, you have MD2, and MD2 right here ends up being Mongduong Finance Holdings, BV, and that's MD2. So, Mongdong Finance Holdings. All right. If we move on from that, you have 23N. And 23N ends up being Nouveau Pharmaceuticals Incorporated on the Frankfurt. And there's your 23N right there. And that came up in the stock market, and now it's come up in finances. So you got a biosciences came up both times, and now you got a pharmaceutical company that came up both times, stock market and finance. If we move on from that, you have M14, and there's M14 on the SGX, Innotech Ltd. And I believe that did come up on the stock market as well, and now here it is coming backwards in finance. If we move on from that, you have ND5, and ND5 ends up being on the Frankfurt, ND5 right there, Nitto Denko Corporation. So that came up in the stock market as well, and here it is again in finance. If we move on from that, you have 4AM, and 4AM ends up being on the Frankfurt, and it's Marisco Incorporated. All right. If we move on from that, you have 41C, and 41C ends up being Cedar Grenska AB Public, PUBL. I assume that's public. 41C.F. So, and that's on the Frankfurt. And if we move on from that, you have A3, getting close. And A3 ends up being A3 Financial Investments, income-focused investing. So they deal with investments. And finally, you have 1NM. And 1NM ends up being Cumulus Media Incorporated, 1NM on the Frankfurt. So there's a media company, and it came up in the stock market and the finance. And that gets you through going forwards and backwards in finance. Part 2A was forwards, and this was backwards. So that's going to do it for this one. We'll do genetics next. I'm looking forward to checking out genetics and see what's there. Those are usually pretty interesting. So that's what we'll do next. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have time tomorrow. So that's going to do it for this. So for now, guys, thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down when appropriate. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions. And thanks for watching, guys. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your day.